California Sober Podcast. I am your host, Mo, and today we'll be breaking down UFC 322. This card was stacked. A lot of KOs, a lot of finishes. Exquisite. My hat's off to the matchmaker, man. My hat's off to the matchmaker. Yeah, we got everything that happened at 322, including the little incident that happened with Dylan Denis and Islam's team. Islam Makhachev's team. I guess Khabib's team technically still. Islam Makhachev's team as well. Just everything, man. Well, let's get into that real quick, actually. So during UFC 322, and you can see this in the broadcast, right? At the beginning of the main event, I think it was before the main card started. They're doing their announcement, right? It's Joe Rogan, John Anik, and Daniel Cormier, right? And they're talking, and you see Daniel Cormier. He keeps looking back. You can't really see what's going on in the camera, right? Because partially, I think the ring was in the way, and the other reason too is the way these cameras are. It's like generally focused on the people, you know, and then everything around was kind of a little bit blurry. So even if the ring wasn't in the way, I don't think you would have been able to see much. But dude, the whole time you see Daniel Cormier just looking back, not even staring at the camera, not even engaging with Joe Rogan or John Anik. I thought it was very out of character because I was like, man, what is he doing? He's like hella distracted. Who's he looking at, you know? It just was, Daniel Cormier, he's a professional, you know, he knows how to speak to the public. He knows how to look at the camera and all that. So this was a little out of character. And then he actually mentions it in the broadcast. He's like, oh, there's some type of scuffle going on back there. The scuffle was between Dylan Denis and Islam Makhachev's team. Apparently Dylan Denis had been talking that smack, and the UFC had placed him in the same row as Islam Makhachev's team. It's actually kind of funny because Dana White actually spoke on this, and he said how he was alerted that Dylan Denis would be at the event, and he had made the decision to let him be there because in his mind, he was kind of more concerned with the issue between Dylan Denis and Jorge Masvidal. I'm sorry, I don't even need ChatGPT. Dana White was more concerned with the issues with Jorge Masvidal and Dylan Denis, and he looked and he was like, oh, they're like 5 rows away from each other. There's a good distance. We should be good. Did not think about the issue that's been going on with Dylan Denis and Islam Makhachev. So that was an oversight on his part. He said he will not make that mistake again, and that Dylan Denis is pretty much banned from all UFC events. I mean, I'm not upset about it, you know. Dylan Denis is kind of funny because he's been trying to get into the UFC for like a long time now. And I don't know if he thought that this would be the thing that got him in there, or I don't know if he thinks behavior like this is what gets Dana's attention, but Dana is not for it. But anyways, that's what happened. Dylan Denis, he got into it with some teammates of Islam Makhachev. He got kind of basically jumped. You know, there's a few punches that were thrown. I'll include some videos in this corner. I think I usually put it in this corner right here somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so that happened right there in the bleachers, right? And yeah, shocker, Dylan Denis. But yeah, you know, we should be used to it by now, bro. We know how Dylan Denis operates, right? He's got a mouth on him. His jiu-jitsu is good, his MMA is okay, but his mouth is really what you know, makes him his money. But yeah, let's get into it. We'll get into some of the fights, or we'll start getting into the fights. Obviously, once again, they're not in any particular order. I try to place them in an order of importance to me, and sorry, I just drank a lot of water, and I try to keep them with how the card played out, just because it makes it easier when I look up the stats and stuff like that. But anyways, let's go. So getting into it, the first fight I want to talk about on this card is Kyle Daukaus versus Gerald Meerschaert. This was a middleweight bout. Daukaus, he's coming in at a 16-4-1 record. Meerschaert's at a 37-20 record. Daukaus, he's been on a tear. You know, he's on a 5-fight win streak. He's been looking sharp, well-rounded. Obviously, his striking, or I guess not obviously, some people might not know, but his striking is kind of like what kind of stands out more than his grappling, but he's not a bad grappler. Meerschaert, on the other hand, he's different. He's kind of the opposite. He's more of a grappler, absolute legend, you know, great grappler. He's been, unfortunately, he's been kind of struggling, you know. His last 2 fights have been coming at losses, both of which I think were KOs, I believe, right? So I believe they're KOs. The first came by Alos. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that name. let me. I didn't write this Russian cat's first name. So I wrote it in this other one. Michael Olasishchik. I can't even pronounce that. Michael Olasishchik. That was a round 1 KO, and then he lost to Brad Tavares by decision. He really needed this win. I kind of honestly feel like if he didn't get this win, he's possibly looking at being cut from the UFC. And yeah, I mean, that's honestly what I'm thinking. Anyway, so the round 1 fight starts. Daukaus wastes 0 time. He's literally throwing, literally the first combo he throws, and he drops Meerschaert. Wrote his name wrong. He drops Meerschaert, like literally the first combo he throws, he drops him. I think it was a clean cross from the southpaw position that actually dropped him at the end of the combination. Meerschaert hits the ground. Daukaus jumps on him and gets the guillotine, and he basically gets the tap. And it was kind of like a weird guillotine. I think I wrote it down on my other note. Yeah, basically gets him a guillotine. I think it was like a weird like sideways guillotine if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he got the guillotine, first round knockout. Don't really need to spend a lot of time speaking on it because, like I said, I try to keep this under 30-ish minutes, 40 tops. Daukaus is on the rise. Meerschaert, I don't know, man. Possibly getting cut from the UFC. It hasn't been looking good for him. Send him to the PFL. Baby, send him to the PFL. Let's go. Hopefully he's making some money. I hope he's making some money. But yeah, I think Meerschaert might get cut after this, and so, yep, winner, Kyle Daukaus via first round guillotine. Go Kyle Daukaus. Not much to say on that. Next fight I want to talk about is Malcolm Wellmaker versus Ethan Ewing. Malcolm Wellmaker, he's been a rising star. This is his 3rd fight, I believe, in the UFC. His first fight, he got a first round knockout. They gave him another fight not too long after. He was literally barely broke a sweat. So he basically got another fight. I think he fought like in a month or 2 after. And he basically got another first round knockout, if I'm not mistaken. So he got a lot of hype from that. And I think really his interview where he talked about how he was still working, I believe it was construction, and how he was able to quit his job because both those fights, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he got performance of the night or something. He got some type of fight win bonus, right? 50K each. So that's 100K that he got just in his bonus plus his actual winnings, which should be around 12K per fight, I believe. So it's 124K. So he's doing, he was pretty happy with that. He was able to quit his job, and his story went viral. Dude, he's from Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of looks like he's got a little Asian. Let me throw a little picture of him, but he looks like he's black and Asian mix. My brother, what's up? Asian mix over here too. But Malcolm Wellmaker, he's coming in with a lot of hype. Ethan Ewing, he's a rising star, right? He comes from CSA gym, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or CSW, I'm sorry, not CSA, CSW. I know he trains at other gyms too, but I think he mostly does a lot of his training at CSW. That's out here in Orange County under the tutelage of Eric Polson. Eric Polson is a freaking veteran in the game. He's from the old UFC. I believe he fought when they had no weight classes. So yeah, he's also currently the Ratuto brothers. They're also training under Eric Polson. So that's a good gym, bro. It's a lot of people come out of that gym. I think if I'm not mistaken, Abasolo, I think he was training there for a while too, or maybe he still is. I can't remember. I could be wrong. Maybe it's CSA. I can't remember, but yeah, Eddie Abasolo. Shout out Eddie Abasolo. Some just California legends. But yeah, Ethan Ewing, he's coming in. This was a 2-day notice for Ewing. Malcolm Wellmaker, he was supposed to fight a guy named Cody Haddon. He's kind of been in the UFC a little bit longer. I'm not sure if this was Ethan Ewing's debut. I don't know if it was or if he had another fight. I should actually ask. Let's ask ChatGPT real quick because that's actually a question I'm curious. When was Ethan Ewing's UFC debut?
Ethan Ewing made his UFC debut on November 15th, 2025 at UFC 322, and he won by unanimous decision against...
Oh, I already told you what's happening. Yeah, so Ethan Ewing, I guess that it is his debut. Actually, I was wrong. He was the champion in A1 Combat. A1 Combat, that is the MMA organization of, what's that California bad boy's freaking name? I have his face, blonde hair. Uriah Faber. Freaking, the California kid owns A1 Combat. Yeah, of course, dude. You, ChatGPT. You. Can't get my shit right. Yeah, so Ethan Ewing, he was fighting in A1 Combat. He was their champion. He made his UFC debut on Saturday fighting Malcolm Wellmaker. This was a fight that he took on 2-day notice, right? A lot of people didn't know much about him, including myself. Actually, that's a lie because I do follow him on IG, so I did kind of know of him and stuff. And I wasn't sure how he would stack up against Malcolm Wellmaker because that guy was just running through the opponents he's had. He's 2 first-round knockouts, right? 2 big fight bonuses. It was going to be an interesting fight, right? This is a welterweight fight. So anyway, we got Malcolm Wellmaker. He's coming in with a 10-0 record. Ethan Ewing coming in with the 8-2, right? Round 1, Ewing comes out hot, man. He's demanding respect from Wellmaker. He basically, I think he knew that Wellmaker is a knockout artist. He knew that he had established early on his aggression in the center of the circle, established his dominance, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I'm a little high. So, and he did. He came out, beautiful combination, stuck to Wellmaker's face. Wellmaker adjusts pretty quickly. In the first couple minutes of the round, he was kind of moving backwards a lot and getting pushed back. He ends up landing a savage check hook that hurts Ewing. And Ewing actually ends up clenching a little bit after this. I don't think he was about to get knocked out. I just think he recognized I got hit hard. Let me grab him real quick and just, a lot of times you'll get hit hard, and even if you don't go down or if you're not on wobbly legs, this is like an invitation for your opponent to now be the aggressor, and they'll start pressing forward and landing their combinations, right? So grabbing him is good. So he grabbed Wellmaker, and I think that just was a strategy to prevent the onslaught that would possibly come. It showed, honestly, this whole fight, it showed that Ethan Ewing had just very, very high fight IQ. He was a very technical, his technique was sound. He was able to come up with game plans during the fight and counters and stuff. It was beautiful. Wellmaker, powerful individual. That check hook, I believe, was what he knocked one of his last 2 fights, one of his opponents from his last 2 fights with. It landed hard. But yeah, Ewing, he ends up clenching a little bit, and he starts using his technical grappling to kind of finish out the round. Wellmaker looked physically stronger. He did. He looked like he was just bigger. He looked like when he punched, it hurt more. But Ewing was just more technical, dude. He had just more all-around skills with the kicks, head movement, angles. His angles were beautiful, bro. His boxing was just beautiful. And he's just transitioned into the clenching his knees. It's just, I thought personally he just had the better technique. Round 2, Wellmaker has not seen a round 2, I think, since he got to the UFC. So this was the first time he hit the round 2. And honestly, it was tough because not only has he not seen round 2, he's always dominated, right? So he saw round 2 and he was kind of getting the lesser of the exchanges. So this is interesting, right? It's just interesting to play in his mental, right? But yeah, round 2, Ewing, he's just great reads, dude. Everything he sees everything that Wellmaker's throwing at him. He's rolling so beautifully, rolling under punches, coming back with a 3-hit combination, slipping, right? One thing that he does really good is when Wellmaker throws, Ewing's able to slip and then come forward with off that slip. So one thing I really like is when he's slipping, he's not slipping away from the punch. He's actually He's actually slipping into the punch, which is something I always tell people. When you're going to slide out of the way of a punch, don't slide to the side, don't slide back, slide forward and off angle, right? Why? Because once you pop back up, you're right there in front of your opponent. You're able to continue your counters. You're able to stay in the pocket, and now they have to move and adjust to get the space that they need in order for them to hit you, right? Because at the end of the day, we have different range. Our arms are different. Our attacks are going to be different, right? It's all about range. But yeah, Ewing, he's slipping well. He's dancing just all around Wellmaker, bro. He's able to just cut angles beautifully, man. Clean boxing combinations. Honestly, for a 2-day notice for fight, he looked like he was prepared, and I'm really curious to see what he does with the full camp. Wellmaker, he does have some moments in the second round. He landed some heavy body shots, right? There was a spinning elbow at the end of it, but that whole fight, Ewing was the one controlling the pace for round 2 at least, and landing the better shots. There was 2 moments. I think he threw a body punch, and it started backing Ewing up, and he was able to kind of mount his attack, put a lot of pressure, and be the aggressor. But like I said, Ewing kind of brought it back together after that, And I mean, there's a spinning back elbow that landed, but it was there wasn't a lot of space for it. And after it landed, Ewing kind of just ate it and then threw a cross straight down the middle, as Wellmaker was turning around, right? So round 2 was tough to score. Round 1 definitely going to Ewing. I think round 2 I'd probably still give it to Ewing, to be honest. But it was close. It was a good fight, closer round on the second one. Round 3, Wellmaker likely down 0-2. He needs to make it ugly, but Ewing is just too clean technically. Like, honestly, like I said, Wellmaker, he has the power. He can put you out with one shot. I think, in my opinion, he should have just been like, okay, just walked forward, even if he had his hands down, and just ate shots in order to give his own shots. You know, push Ewing against the fence, make it ugly, right? Try to get him with your power. Ewing wasn't having it though, baby. Ewing was just too clean. He did, you know, there's a couple moments of clenching where they had him against the cage. I mean, honestly, third round, they're both pretty tired. So it wasn't a lot as much action as before, you know. But one thing I did see that I was able to see in the third round was there was a moment where Wellmaker goes for a takedown. He shoots for a takedown. Ewing stuffs it and he puts him in like a headlock and he starts kneeing him in the head. And then that leads to like a scramble. And like, dude, the way Ewing's able to transition from his back to a side to back to try to taking him down. It was beautiful. It showed that he has really good jiu-jitsu. Like he's able to flow really well. He wasn't able to keep Wellmaker down, and I just think that comes to the strength. Wellmaker just seemed like he was the stronger fighter. But I mean, I was watching this fight. I was curious. I was like, I wonder how Ethan's ground game looks, and it would appear that he takes the same amount of time working. He's taken the same amount of time working his jits and wrestling as he has with his striking. You know, very technical. But anyways, Ewing pulls away with volume and technique. You know, he controlled the whole fight. Winner, Ethan Ewing via unanimous decision. This was Wellmaker's first loss in the UFC, I believe. I think at all, right? What's his record? I think it was 10-0, right? Let's go back up. Yeah, 10-0. Wellmaker's first loss in MMA. I hope he doesn't take it too hard, right? Like, honestly, he just fought a more technical fighter. You know, you as you continue to move up the ranks, you can't just rely on power, right? People say it at the end of the day, dude, technique beats heart. Technique beats talent, you know, right? And that's basically what we saw. Ewing, he seems like he does have talent. He's a talentful fighter, don't get me wrong, but it was his technique and his timing that really won him that fight. So I'm excited to see what's new for Ethan. Ethan's local. I think he trains. I think he lives in like Anaheim, actually, somewhere around Anaheim is what I think it said. So who knows? Maybe I'll be able to link with them and get an interview with them. I'll start talking to people to see if they can link me up. But anyways, I'm going to light my joint up now, and this actually, I'm gonna give you a little disclaimer here, right? I've been rolling with the raw papers for a while now, and I just feel like the quality of raw papers has gone downhill. Particularly the glue part where you lick it and you stick it together. That glue part just does not work anymore, right? Like, I'll sit there and I'm like tucking and I'm rolling like the mouthpiece and I'm moving and I'm tucking, and then when I get like halfway through rolling it, I'll see that the bottom is just completely undone. Like, it just didn't stick at all. It's so annoying, bro. I literally went through 3 joint wraps to roll this one joint because I kept having the same issue, bro. It just wasn't sticking. I don't know if it's a me thing, or honestly, I just think they're cheaping out on the glue. Or I was so annoyed because I put a lot of keef in here. I scraped my grinder. Next fight I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna run the Tracy Cortez versus Erin Blanchfield fight. Tracy Cortez, she's the number 8 ranked fighter. She is coming in fighting the number 4 ranked fighter in the flyweight division, Blanchfield. I gotta tell you, bro, every time Tracy Cortez fights, I gotta tune in. She's a little cutie, bro. I'm not saying she's like a 10 or anything, people. Don't get me wrong. I understand. But I mean, for, you know, a fighter chick, she's cute, bro. She's cute. She's got a great personality. I love her personality. She seems chill. Nice. Erin Blanchfield, who was her last? She fought. Let me see. I remember her from. I'm spacing now. Oh yeah, she fought Rose last year. Actually, almost exactly a year ago. Yeah, she fought Rose and she kind of dominated her. That's what I remembered. Coming into this fight, I was like, this is gonna be a tough fight for Tracy because she fought Rose and she lost to Rose, if I'm not mistaken. And then now she's fighting the girl that beat Rose. Let me just ask ChatGPT. Did Tracy Cortez fight Rose Namajunas?
Hey there, how can I help you today?
Did Tracy Cortez fight Rose Namajunas?
Yes, Tracy Cortez and Rose Namajunas did fight on July 13th, 2024. UFC on ESPN 59 in Denver, and Rose Namajunas won by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so I think I added that in my notes on my other page of notes, but like I said, I sometimes condense things, so I'll get rid of things thinking I don't need it, or I'm like, hopefully I remember. But anyways, Tracy Cortez, she fought Rose. She loses by unanimous decision. Erin Blanchfield, she also fights Rose. She defeats Rose by unanimous decision, also a 5-rounder, by the way. And for Blanchfield, looking at this fight, I was like, probably Blanchfield's going to take it. She's at least in terms of the grappling, she's a way more superior grappler. But I didn't count Tracy out. I was like, Tracy probably has the better striking. She's faster. She's for sure faster. I've seen them both fight, and Tracy, she's quick. She's got great combinations, and she's really good at returning fire. When she gets hit, she comes back. Erin Blanchfield, she's more of a, looks like she did grappling before striking. When you start with like these grappling arts, I feel like when it comes to striking, a lot of the times people struggle with like the speed and pace of it, right? Because in grappling, you're a lot more slower and you're using like a lot more of your muscles to go through things. You're a lot more patience, right? Striking is all about speed. Pa, 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 pa. So a lot of times you'll see these grapplers coming in, they're just a little bit too patient, right? That's why I think it's always better if you learn you want to learn grappling first because it takes longer to get good at, right? But if you learn striking first and you go into grappling, I feel like the pace is a little bit faster because you're used to like that striking pace. That's just my own opinion from at least what I've seen at my gym. I could just be bullshit. But anyways, this was a flyweight fight. Blanchfield versus Cortez in the flyweight division. Blanchfield's coming in. She's got a 13-2 record. Cortez has got a 12-2 record. Someone's 2 is going to turn into a mother effing 3. Who will it be? Oh, got that rhyme. Cat the hat, baby. Round 1. Very competitive round. Both women were pressing forward. Both were landing clean. I think, in my opinion, in round 1, Cortez was landing the better combos. As I said, Cortez, she just seemed like she was faster. She's really good at when she gets hit, returning fire. Her hand combinations were beautiful, bro. She was throwing like very technical hand combinations, jab, cross, uppercut, hook type stuff, moving around. She was throwing a couple kicks in there, but mostly keeping it boxing, which I think was good. I'm not sure if that was strategic or if it's just her style. It could have been strategic just to not give the leg out for Erin to grab and, to get the takedown. But yeah, like I said, Cortez seemed faster and just overall better combinations. Blanchfield was a little bit more accurate. She wouldn't throw as much, but she would just make sure that it'd be a lot of 1s and 2s, but those 1s and 2s would land, right? Versus like Cortez, she would throw like 3s, 4s, maybe 2 or 3 of those shots might land, different approaches to striking, but yeah, I think that gave the slight edge to Cortez. I could be biased though, but that is my own opinion. Round 2, Cortez is looking confident, man. She's staying in the pocket. She hits a takedown early, but she hits a takedown early in the second round, but she ends up a little high, and Blanchfield is able to reverse it. Cortez gets back to her feet. I think that was kind of like an aha moment. I think that was when Blanchfield realized how much better she is at the grappling. I don't know why she was trying to strike with Cortez. I feel like she should have. I could have already told you before the fight happened that Cortez would be the more experienced striker. But anyways, after that exchange, they get up and Erin just starts dragging Cortez into a clench, bro. She just literally puts her in the clench, knees. She ends up getting a takedown, which is like a crazy takedown because she runs across the mats to get it, but she gets it. It literally, takes, I don't know, like 3 or 4 steps to get it, but she got it. She takes the back and basically she takes Tracy Cortez's back and then she pulls off like a rear naked choke. Actually, I think this was the fight that had the weird angle. Maybe the other fight was that I was speaking on, the first fight. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, she has a rear naked choke, but she doesn't have a body lock. Her legs are almost in like side control on her back, and then she's got her locked in up top. Really interesting angle. I kind of curious to know if it would have been possible for Cortez to kind of like rotate her legs up, I guess, elevate her legs up higher and try to spin out of it. Maybe that would have worked. I don't know. I was curious when I saw that. But winner round 2 by Erin Blanchfield via rear naked choke, man. I mean, I think that was a good fight. For a women's fight, that's the type of I want to see, right? Like some of these other female fights. I can't remember who I spoke on my last video. It was that those two, I think it was the only female fight I talked to on that card. But I was like, they need to just go for it. Like the chick that was winning just was kind of like outpointing her. But I was like, bro, you're a better striker. Just get in there and seal the deal. Finish the job. yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but this fight, it was just a lot more. There's more commitment. Obviously, Aaron Blanchfield got the dub in round 2 via rear naked choke. So that's what I want to see, ladies. Show me the activity, ladies. I'm sorry, I'm high, dude. I put Keith in there, and goddamn, I am high. The next fight I want to talk about. Let's get into this. Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira. This was a middleweight bout. Some people were a little upset. Some people were upset online, dude. Rodolfo Vieira, he's a veteran in the game. Bo Nickal's a rising star. People were feeling like the skill set was more in favor of Bo Nickal. So they felt like the UFC was just feeding the older guy to the younger guy, as they usually do. This is not uncommon. This is more common than not, actually. It happens all the time. You got to build your stars, right? So, yeah, a lot of people were upset. I was like, I was kind of feeling the same way. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? Rodolfo signed the contract, though, right? He didn't have to. So it was up to him. He wanted to do it. He clearly thinks he could win. I felt the same. I thought that Vieira had a chance, really. Not. I mean, I thought he was going to get whooped, but I was like, it's not going to be that bad. I mean, here's the thing. Rodolfo Vieira, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. I think his nickname is the black belt, actually, which is kind of funny. But he's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's got a black belt. Bo Nickal, obviously, his bread and butter is wrestling. So I was like, maybe Vieira will be able to get a submission off his back or something, because he did do gi. He did a lot of gi. So like gi, you get to work on a lot of like back submissions and stuff, which I don't know, maybe not doesn't work when you're not wearing the gi. But anyways, I'm rambling. But yeah, Bo Nickal, he's coming in with a 7-1 record. Vieira's coming in with an 11-3 record. Man, dude, Bo, Bo spoke about how he got pieced up by Dariush, right? He tried to outstrike the striker, and he paid for it. He said that from now on, he's not going to abandon his wrestling anymore, right? And I think the same thing happened with Paul Craig. I think when he fought Paul Craig, did he fight Paul Craig? Yeah, he did fight Paul Craig. Yeah, so I remember he tried to outbox Paul Craig, and then he fought Dariush, tried to outbox Dariush. The Dariush fight was bad, dude. The Paul Craig fight, I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but I know he lost. Oh, no, yeah, I'm sorry, he beat Paul Craig, but I think it was just really boring or something, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, he said from now on, he's not going to abandon his wrestling. He's going to go back to his bread and butter. Vieira, he's coming off a win over Trishan Gore. But like I said, this felt mostly like a tuna fight. It really felt like Dana White he had invested in Bo Nickal, and like I said, he had that fight with Paul Craig. That was a boring fight, and then he lost to RDR, which I don't think he had any business fighting RDR anyways, because Dariush, he came from ONE FC, dude. He was the champion in ONE FC for like a minute, bro. I think he went like a couple years with that belt. He left ONE FC because he couldn't get fights. ONE FC is going through some financial issues. The MMA portion is costing them a lot more money than the Muay Thai kickboxing portion. I'll get into that in another video, right? But he wasn't getting fights, so that's why he came to the UFC, right? Because he wanted more fights. I don't know, Bo Nickal, I don't know why he put him against Bo Nickal, but whatever, dude. Yeah, so this fight, it just seemed like Daddy Dana, he's trying to get a return on his investment. I'm sorry, I'm rambling because this fight didn't even last that long. Honestly, what's the result? Bo Nickal lands a head kick in round 2. He dominates the whole fight, but he ends up landing a head kick in round 2, and he knocks out Vieira. Head kick here, but he was beating the crap out of him, bro. He was piecing him up, dude. Honestly, that whole freaking fight, you probably could have ended it in round 1 if you wanted. But that's what happened with that. Bo Nickal, he gets the dub. Vieira gets the L. He gets a loss on his record. Who's next for Bo Nickal? I don't know. Let's actually look this up right now. Should you just fight Dariush again? That'd be so funny. Because now that we've seen Dariush, like that, his cardio, isn't the best cardio. I think Bo Nickal can exploit that, but I don't know. The skill sets seem kind of like pretty gnarly, though. You know what I'm saying? Because Dariush can strike too, so it's like he's good on the ground and he can strike. So it's like, you know what I mean? He can find a way to win. Who do we give Bo Nickal? Is he even ranked yet? He's not even ranked, huh? Yeah, he's not even ranked, huh? Let's give him. I say we give him fucking Marvin Vettori or Joe Pyfer. Let's give him a top 15 guy. Or give him Cannonier. See what's up with Cannonier. If Cannonier loses this one, then shh. You know what I mean? Daddy Dana, give me a call. Let me matchmake. I got you, dog. Next fight I want to talk about. Beneil Dariush, the number 9 ranked fighter in the lightweight division, and Beneil St. Denis, he's the number 13th in the lightweight division. Dariush is coming in with a 23-6-1 record. St. Denis is coming in with a 15-3-1. It's a lot more fights than Dariush's side. He is 36 years old, and he has been fighting a lot longer than St. Denis. But make no mistake, Denis is the new blood, baby. St. Denis is a Frenchman with a mission to prove French people aren't biatches. What can I say? Benny, he's the hometown guy. Comes from King's MMA Anaheim. Love that man. Cool guy, big heart. Always got to give a shout out for people coming from, from my side of town. He's coming off a win from Moicano. That fight, a lot of people counted him out. I wasn't sure he was going to win. I honestly would have put money against him, but I remember he kicked the shit out of Moicano, was able to take him down. He got the dub. Wasn't his best work. He looked very sloppy. I'm not going to lie. He looked very sloppy, but he got the dub. And St. Denis, that guy, he is a problem, bro, he is a problem for that division, man. This guy, I know people probably remember him off of his loss to Poirier, but dude, first of all, he was mauling Poirier before that happened, right? And second of all, go watch his other fights, bro. St. Denis is a savage. He's a heavy wrestler, a lot of kicking power. He kicks the crap out of you and then takes you down, which is interesting because it's just an interesting mix, right? Kicking and wrestling. I don't know, but I love it, dude. Love watching it. But yeah, he's just really aggressive, really good fighter, right? Almost a complete fighter, honestly. I mean, he can punch too. He can punch. Anyways, round 1, St. Denis gets Beneil Dariush. He gets him out in literally the first round, 16 seconds into the first round. That's got to be a freaking record for him at least, and up there for UFC. I mean, honestly, what happened, Benny was doing pretty good, bro. He was attacking him, attacking the legs, and then he would kind of hit him and slide out. He was trying to stay away from him, and he was doing good for the first couple seconds. What happened though was Dariush threw a kick. St. Denis grabbed the kick. He throws a bunch of punches while he's holding his leg. All right, I'm high. Pause, unpause. This is what happens. Benny kicks St. Denis. St. Denis catches the leg. He throws a couple crosses. He lets go. They get into a clinch exchange. Dariush goes for a knee to the body. I think it might have landed. I think it landed earlier or something, or either did or it land or it landed once earlier before. But when he goes for that knee, St. Denis basically takes a step back and throws an overhand and clocks Dariush in the head while he's got his hands up in the clench position. Gnarly power from such a short amount of space he was able to use to generate that power. It was impressive. He got the knockout. Dariush goes down, but he gets up quickly, so I don't think he had to go to the hospital. He probably still had to get a scan, but my guy was okay. Winner, St. Denis via KO overhand. Is this the St. Denis era? Have we entered the St. Denis era? I don't know. I mean, look at the division. A lot of the old veterans are starting to leave. They're getting older. Maybe. Is he the next French superstar after Cyril Gane? Probably. I think so, man. Gane, he has his personality. Some people like it, some people don't. I think St. Denis, people can get behind. He's like a man's man. Dude looks terrifying, bro. Obviously winner, Bennett St. Denis via first round KO, baby. I'm high as hell right now. I can't even think. I shouldn't have smoked that. I should have done a regular joint. And moving on to, was this a co-main? I don't think this was the co-main. It could have been the co-main though. Carlos Prates, the number 9 ranked fighter versus Leon Edwards, the number 4 in the welterweight division. This was a fight I was excited for. Both fighters are excellent strikers. Different approaches to striking, similar to the Cortez versus Blanchfield fight. You got Leon Edwards. He's a crispy, clean combination fighter. He's more of a kickboxing style, right? He's a kickboxer that can do knees and elbows, basically, right? So kind of more of on the Dutch kickboxing style ish. I wouldn't say that because he angles out a lot. Just more of a kickboxing style, right? Likes to use angles, likes to move in and out. Always very safe, keeps his hands up. He doesn't stay in the pocket and just explode. Once he'll get in the pocket, throws combination, get out. Always has his hands up when he's in the pocket, when he's moving. A lot of people say he's a very safe striker. Carlos Prates, he is a different animal. My guy is, by definition, how could I describe him? I'm spacing again. I'm sorry. Carlos Prates, his style is a little different. He's he's less of a combination guy. He'll throw like ones and twos, but he's more of trying to be more accurate. I feel like the Brazilians, they kind of fight like that. They're not throwing like a bunch of 3-4 hit combinations unless you're like Vanderlei and they're all haymakers. But I feel like the Brazilians, they're more about like ones and twos. It's kind of like more of the traditional Thai style mixed in with like the new generation style. It's like shorter combinations with power and accuracy. Round one, Prates, he's attacking the legs early, right? Right from the beginning, you could tell that Prates he just kind of was able to get his timing better than Edwards. Edwards was having a hard time with his space and his timing. And honestly, like, it's not like he was out of the fight, right? It was a very competitive first round. But like I said, I mean, Leon Edwards wasn't getting dominated. He was still in the fight. But yeah, he was throwing some leg kicks and a lot of them were starting to hurt, Second round, Prates, he opens up with with more low kicks early on in the round, and he hurts Leon Edwards, and you can see Edwards starts switching stances, and on one of the times he goes to switch a stance, he's actually smiling at Prates, and he's looking at him smiling, and he goes to switch stances. Right when he switches stances, Carlos Prates hops in and he throws a cross from the southpaw position, fires it down the middle, right through Leon Edwards' guard, and bam, KOs him. He gets him with like just the tip of his knuckles, bro. It was so clean. Like I said, it was just that range, dude. He was able to control the distance was just a little bit better. He was like the longer fighter, and he just had good timing. Honestly, like that's the thing. That's what happens, if you're gonna switch stances, you gotta understand your opposite stance. Your attack can be the same, if sometimes even better, but your defense is gonna usually suffer. For some reason, people aren't as good at defending from the opposite stance as they are attacking from the opposite stance, and that's what happened with Edwards. He switched stances, right, and going from this to this, he left it just a little wide, and he wasn't able to react as fast as he normally could, and Prates just sent that cross right down the middle. It was like interesting too, because stepping into it, he just lined himself up right for that cross for Prates to come down the left side, right. I believe Prates was already in the southpaw, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, winner. Carlos Prates, Vieira, cross, round 2, baby. What's next for Carlos Prates? Who should he fight next, dude? Let's see who's in the welterweight division right now. This card had a lot of welterweights, bro, honestly. So we got Belio, Sean Brady, Shavkat, he's out for a while. Kumaro. I guess we could give him Sean Brady, the number 2, Well, I mean, Carlos Prates is 9, though. You know what? I say let's give him Buckley, bro. Buckley would be a good fight, man. I'd be interested to see how that comes out. People were saying give him the rematch with Ian Gary. I could see that, too. I could see that, but Ian's been on a rampage, bro. He's been pretty much winning all of his fights as of late. So I would be down to see a Buckley fight. Let the top 5 division continue. Belio Muhammad. Yeah, I would be down to watch him fight Buckley, to be honest, even though it's kind of unfair because Leon Edwards is number 4. Nah, it works. But all right, next fight, Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. This was another welterweight fight. Really, a lot of people anticipated this fight. Michael Morales, he's a tall fighter. I can't remember the reach advantage he had. It was some crazy, like 5 or 6 inches, I remember. Sean Brady, very technically sound fighter. A lot of people were saying he'd be able to use the skills to get inside Michael Morales' pocket and, grappling exchanges and whatnot. But yeah, first round, right from the beginning, dude, Michael Morales, he's coming out throwing bombs. He's got zero respect for Sean Brady, dude. Every punch he throws is literally meant to kill, dude. He catches Brady with a vicious like 3 or 4 piece combo, puts him out, dude. He literally drops him, gets on top of him, finishes the job. Gets the dub via KO, dude. I'm not gonna get into it because I feel like I've been wasting some time here, but a lot of people did not think this would go down this way. Sean Brady, isn't he number 1, right? Or no, Sean Brady is the number 2 ranked fighter in the welterweight division. People were not expecting that, right? But I think that just shows, Michael Morales, he's here to shine, baby. Michael Morales is a big boy. Length is crazy on that guy. Power, baby. Power, baby. Let's go. But yeah, let's get into the next fight. Weili Zhang versus Valentina Shevchenko. This was for the flyweight title. Valentina Shevchenko is defending her belt. You know, Weili Zhang, she was in what's before flyweight is a strawweight. She was the dominant champion in the flyweight division. I think she only lost twice, right? She lost to Rose once via head kick, got that back, dominated. Not sure who else she fought. And I think there was one more loss, dude. I could be wrong, but I think she had 2 losses that I can remember in strawweight. I mean, she's got 4. She lost to Rose twice. She lost to Rose twice, really? Damn, that's crazy. I'm gonna rewatch those. Didn't she fight? I thought she fought Rose again and beat her. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Zhang, she's been just going on a rampage in the strawweight division. She decided to move up to flyweight title to challenge Valentina Shevchenko because she felt like she didn't have any challenges at that division. Apparently, she asked for this fight like years ago, and Dana just said she wasn't ready. We didn't say she wasn't ready. I just think she wasn't high enough in the rankings at the time. But now she can do whatever she wants because she's been a freaking terror. Valentina Shevchenko, she's coming into this fight. She's here to defend the belt. I mean, she's here to basically prove she is her, right? Like, she's been on this just crazy run for a while now. And so people are questioning how long it's going to last. It doesn't last forever, guys, you know? So this is a good fight. You know, we're going to see, is this going to be the end of the Shevchenko era and the beginning of the Zhang era? Or is Shevchenko going to stick around and stay for a little bit longer? Shevchenko, she's coming in with a 25-4-1 record. Zhang is 26-3. Yeah, dude, like I said, Zhang's moving up to strawweight, from strawweight to flyweight. Valentina just looked bigger, dude. She looked bigger, and she was probably going to be stronger. So there's a lot of questions we're going to be asked. You know, I think Daniel Cormier says that Zhang Weili like can pick him up like no problem. So you know, she's got some type of strength. Round 1, I mean, basically all of round 1 was just Valentina Shevchenko just using her strength to kind of muscle, a takedown and get side control. You know, Zhang defended it pretty. She defended, the takedowns good, and she was able to defend like Valentina from hopping over into side control. Like, it took her a while, a lot of tries. Like, she was good at grabbing one leg and holding her there. Not letting her pass her guard completely. Eventually, Valentina figured it out and got past her. And honestly, once Shevchenko takes Zhang down, it just seems like Zhang has such a hard time getting up. She can't roll. She can't move to a better position. It just shows the strength. Like, when it comes to the striking is more even. I would say that Valentina was still getting a little bit better off. I think if I'm from off that first round, but once she took her down, it was just no question, right? Round 2, basically the same story. At some point, Valentina gets a crucifix, and she pretty much just dominates the ground on the fight on the ground. She got a crucifix, and Zhang Weili was able to defend and get out of it pretty early. Didn't take a lot of damage, but like I said, it's just the power of Shevchenko. Valentina, Weili Zhang just could not do anything to stop the power of Valentina. Round 3, Valentina, she's starting to feel a little bit more confident. And actually, in round 1, I felt like she was a little bit more cautious than Zhang, at least for most of the first round, right? By the time the second and third round, she's like, okay, I got this. I don't know what it was, but it just seemed like Zhang had her mental was just there a lot sooner. Round 3, though, Valentina's opening up more. She throws a head kick and lands it. She's throwing hard body kicks, dude. Every time she slaps that body kick, you just see her mark go across Zhang's body. She's just flowing beautifully, just better striking. Zhang keeps that fight on the feet for the most of that round, but she ends up getting taken down again, and it's the same story. When she gets taken down, it's just her surviving. She does, like I said, she does a good job at keeping Valentina in her guard. Valentina, she struggles to get the side control. I don't remember if she got a full amount for any control time or anything, but she kept trying to work to get to that side control, and it was tough, right? Round 4, Valentina starts attacking the body more. She's just destroying the body with teeps, kicks, punches. She's just mixing up her targets just beautifully, you know. And again, using her size, clinch work, you know, takes her down, keeps her on the ground. I'm not gonna lie, dude. By round 4, I kind of started not paying attention as much, just because I already saw where it was going. I was like, I don't think Zhang has anything to beat her. You know, by 3rd round, it was obvious, right? Round 5, Shevchenko gets a takedown and pretty much rides out the round on top of her. You know, round ends, and you know the winner is chosen, which is Valentina Shevchenko via unanimous decision. Still one of the greatest ever. I think Zhang Weili, she's still a good fighter, bro. She's still at the top of the division, but I think that just shows why there are weight classes, right? Like Shevchenko is just naturally a bigger person, and she's able to execute certain things that other people couldn't do that are more similar in weight and size to Zhang Weili, you know? You know, I'd like to see, so like Zhang's already wiped out the division, right? There's no reason to go back. I say keep her in what is this, flyweight, right? Keep her in flyweight. Let's give her top 5 girls or top 10 girls. Let's just build her up there. Let her get used to fighting people that size. Let her body acclimate better, you know? Because there's strategy, right? If you're fighting a bigger person, it's like there's things you got to do, right? Things you got to work. So she was used to being the aggressor, right? She was that big, strong girl in the strawweight in the strawweight division, going and not being able to be the aggressor. That really messed with her, man. Like that was the thing. Is Zhang Weili's style is she needs to press forward. She needs to have you scared of her so she can bully you, and that's how she's able to do what she's able to do, right? When she was fighting Shevchenko was not scared of her. She was the aggressor, right? So now Zhang Weili has to learn how to fight, moving with angles, needs to learn how to fight going backwards, right? I think that staying in this weight class will benefit her more, right? Because now instead of coming forward, she's going to be fighting bigger girls, so she's going to have to get used to angling out and, you know, using different techniques that work better against bigger opponents, right? Staying at the end of punches, right? Not being in the pocket for so long, right? Hitting and moving. I think she can. I think there can be a day where she'll wear that belt in the flyweight division. It's just gonna take some time. So I would just keep her that division if it was me. You know, that's just my own opinion. Now it's the main event. Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. I will now be referring to Della Maddalena as JDM because it's just easier. JDM, he's coming in with the 18-2 record. Islam with the 27-1 record. Islam is on a 15-fight win streak. That guy's just been dominating, bro. He, you know, Alexander Volkanovski, just everyone, you know, Poirier, like he's fought the best of the best in his last division, and now he's moving up to fight the next sea of people, much like how Zhang Weili tried, you know, or is currently attempting. JDM, he's coming off of some dominant wins, right? So he beat the last 2 big fights he had was Belal Muhammad, destroyed him. Belal was not able to take him down, right? Belal had to box him, and he got outboxed, bro. He got pieced up. And then before that, in 2024, he fought Gilbert Burns. That was his last fight of 2024. Same thing, beat the crap out of Burns. I think he was able to take Burns down a few times and show his grappling skills. His boxing is where it's at. JDM's boxing is where it's at. He is a mother effer when it comes to boxing. He boxes like a smaller guy, right? And what I mean by that is he uses a lot of combinations, a lot of angles and stuff like that. Dude, I feel like as you get bigger as a person, your striking style changes. It's like you gain more power. You kind of lose a little bit of speed as you get bigger, but so you get more used to just being in the pocket, throwing that one, you know, the heavyweights get a little sloppy and so forth and so on. But like I said, JDM fights like a small man and knocks people out. What a freaking exciting fighter this guy is. He trained a lot with Craig Jones for this camp. You know, Craig Jones, he claims to have the secret sauce to beat the Dagestanis. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, right off the first round, you know, Islam, he opens up with a couple calf kicks. I think he got 2 very, very hard ones off and early on. You can clearly see that it was part of his game. It seemed like he kind of was working the calves and the low kicks to try to neutralize JDM's boxing, right? Boxers, they have to lean forward a lot, put a lot of weight on that front leg, right? So kicking it's going to be a little bit easier. It's going to be harder to check, right? Yeah, he gets a single leg, I think halfway through the first round, just reaches down, gets it, no problems, able to get a sweep, and he just dominates him on top, dude. He's just moving, he's hitting him, he's landing some good ground and pounds, and just staying on top, bro. Round one, I got to give it to Islam, right? It's not looking so hot for JDM. Round two, more low kicks. I'm telling you, he for sure worked low kicks. If he didn't, then fight IQ through the roof for this guy. A lot of low kicks, clenching. JDM, dude, this is where you see the difference in abilities, right? And technique and knowledge. JDM tries to do a wizard, and he ends up taking Islam down, and Islam ends up on the bottom. He reverses it on the way down, or I forgot how it happened, but he had a wizard, shoots him down. Islam rolls with it actually, and then he ends up getting JDM down and takes his back. Daniel, I'm not into wrestling that much. I'm sorry, guys. But Daniel Cormier, he was able to explain it a lot better. Something about how he had the wizard in a wrong position to go for that throw. You know, I think he said you're not supposed to have it as an underhook, or you should have had it as an underhook. I don't remember, but yeah. He gets the wizard reversed. Islam's on top. He's dominating, landing elbows, just controlling everything. Just no problem, right? Round three, JDM is looking damaged. His movement is just weird from all those low kicks. He's scared to commit. He just is not confident at all, bro. Islam ends up taking him down again, smashes him with elbows. Literally, it rides out the round with him just on top, smashing with elbows. I think after that third round, when JDM's going to his corner, his cornerman's telling him to wipe that look off his face because he just looks like a sad boy, bro. He's like pouty and he can't figure out this, but he had no moments in this fight, bro. You know, so it's tough, man. Round four, you know, JDM, he's starting to use a lot of feints. I think that was good. Feints would have been good. I just think by round four, though, it's like Islam already, he has your timing, dude. He knows what you're going to do at this point. The feints would have been good earlier on. And the other thing, too, is I felt like in round four, he was kind of just feinting too much. He was just spamming him. Islam kicks the calf again, shoots for a takedown. Same old story, just on top of him, ground and pound. Finishes around with him on top. JDM's leg messed up. So many low kicks for Eaton. Round five, same thing, you know. Islam takes him down and just drowns him with pressure, drowns him with his wrestling technique, ground and pounds. Basically a fight ends, and I think Islam, I gave him all 5 rounds, to be honest, dude. I know I'm still running through it like it was a little boring and stuff. It wasn't like super exciting, but it was good to watch, right? It wasn't like a snooze fest, right? I think Islam could have probably gone for a finish, though, in my opinion. But here's the thing, actually. JDM did work on his ground. He was with Craig Jones, right? Craig Jones, legendary jiu-jitsu fighter, funny guy. You should follow his page. There was times where Islam was trying to get the finish. He went for a Kimura at some point. He would go for, I think, Darce chokes. I think he went for like a Darce choke a few times, and that's, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's his bread and butter. I think, didn't he get Dustin Poirier with the Darce and some other people? Who else did he get with the Darce? It might have been Charles Oliveira. I don't know, but that was his thing, and he went for it on more than one occasion, and JDM was able to defend it and kind of like fight it. You know, JDM, his defensive jiu-jitsu worked really well, right? The problem is he couldn't mount an offense and he couldn't sweep, but he was able to stay safe. Like whenever he ate some ground and pounds, but it wasn't too bad either, right? And whenever Islam would go for a submission or something, he did all the right things. It's just like the gap in knowledge was just too good. It's like, you know, a little bit, right, and you can survive, but you're just prolonging what this is going to be now, you know. But yeah, Islam Makhachev gets the dub. What are we witnessing? Greatness? Is Islam the final boss for the Dagestanians? I don't know. Honestly, his resume is crazy though, and it's to me personally, I might get some hate. I think his resume looks more impressive than Khabib's. You know, Islam Makhachev, winner via unanimous decision. I mean, think of his acolytes: Poirier, Charles, Volk, bro. He fought the who's who, and he fought him. I mean, and his striking, bro. He's used striking to beat like strikers, right? Like he's this crazy wrestler who can strike with the strikers. Who knows what's next for Islam? He's in, what division is this now? Is this the welter? No. Yeah, it's welterweight. Yep. He's in the welterweight division. Who knows, man? He might even have to move up to freaking light heavy or something, dude. Or what's next? Is it middleweight? He might even have to move up to middleweight, baby. Yeah, middleweight. He might have to go to middleweight. Who's in middleweight, first of all, dude? I think okay, we got Duplessis, Kazma. Oh, not reading Imavov. Oh. I mean, am I getting ahead of myself though, dude? Are these guys going to be they might be too big for Islam, bro. I'm be honest. Let's go back to Walter. Let's just go back to Walter. Let's see who's there to challenge. Who can we challenge Islam with? I don't think Walter is enough, man. Well, Shavkat would be a good one, you know. Balil, Shavkat, Kumaru. These would be good names. I'd be interested to see these ones. Kumaru would be a great one. Balil might be a good one. Shavkat would be a great one, but he's out for a while. He had knee surgery and then he re-injured the same knee that he had surgery with while he was healing. I think he was training too soon, man. It happens. But Islam Makhachev, the great. What can we say about him, man? And that's it for UFC 322. Some absolute madness. As I said, the rising stars showing out, legends getting passed up, champions proving why they're champions, and Islam continuing to build. Let me know what you think. Which fight stood out for you? Who are you impressed by? Who do you think the UFC should cut some of the people I spoke on earlier? Meerschaert. And who deserves a title shot next? I don't know. Let me know. I'm just the guy with the microphone and weed. That's it for California Sober. This is Mo. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.